Hello, thank you so much for joining me on Merlin's Mountain today. I do hope some of the magic rubs off on you. It usually does. I am Andy, and thanks for joining me. I hope you get something out of this reading. It's a 5-card pick a card reading, and we're going to use the Muse Tarot today. We're also going to use Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light. There are 5 cards here from the Muse Tarot, and we'll have 1 card for each of these cards. So another 5 cards from Kyle Gray's Keepers of the Light. Thing to do, friends, is pick a card, and you know the routine by now. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I really hope my camera hasn't flipped and made that look weird, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can pick 1, you can pick 2, 3, 4, or all 5, which I quite strongly recommend, actually. You know, you get a bit more meaning if you pick all 5, but it's entirely up to you, dear viewer. That's what this is all about. So right now, let us turn over card number 1 and see what we've got here. Okay, it is the Knight of Inspiration. Can you see the Knight of Inspiration there? That is essentially the Knight of Wands. We've got wonderful fireworks going off in the sky here, and this is a real good message for this weekend that we're in at the moment, because Mars retrograde ended a couple of days ago, and let me see, Mercury retrograde has about 5 days to go at the moment. There will of course be the post shadow after that. You never quite get away with Mercury retrograde, do you? But Mercury retrograde is coming to an end. So the thing is, you know, soul level change is very much a part of what we're expecting to happen at the moment, and it's going to be a freedom, you know. It's that kind of soul level change where it sets you free, a bit like, if you can see this up here, my sort of phoenix flames thing here. You know, you rise up basically from the flames that have been burning away at you, nagging away at you all through the retrograde times that we've been through. And a lot of people feel that this is where the new year really starts in astrology, just because the pressure's off and you can kind of be yourself. And a lot of people are going to think, well, being myself doesn't get me anywhere. Well, maybe not all the time, but really being yourself is what makes a difference, is what actually makes things happen. So here's the Knight of Wands. If you pick this card, friends, you really need to make a firework display out of your own best features, out of the things you do better than anybody else does. As always with the Muse Tarot, I'm going to read a little rhyme. There's a little rhyme that goes with each card. And it says here, "And there in the darkness, the tiniest spark, and I knew I could nurture this flame. And there in the heart of the womb and the art was a muse who was breathing my name." A muse. It is the Muse Tarot, and actually the suit of pentacles is called the suit of muses in this deck. So there's a suggestion of the pentacles there in that couplet. But yeah, it's all about really being spontaneous. You know, you can afford to be spontaneous now. I've just noticed I've got this horrible kind of shadow thing going on. Please excuse me. And this isn't a mark on the wall. This is actual moving stuff. We've got a seahorse and an owl keyring there that used to belong to my daughter. So make of that what you will. And we will move on to card number 2. Or at least not yet, we won't, because we haven't done the oracle card from the Keepers of the Light oracle card to go with that one yet. Okay, so to go with the Knight of Wands, really, El Morya, awakening presence. There he is. El Morya set a lot of people free when he lived this worldly life. He's a true ascended master, you know, and the ascended masters are people who lived an earthly, worldly life, were actually human just like us, and have gone on to, you know, if this was a Christian thing, I'd say they'd gone on to be saints, but that's kind of how we view them, you know, that good, because they continue to help us from the celestial realms, either just by their example and by what we know about them from the lives they lived on earth, or, you know, actually in person. They're amazing characters. El Morya says, awakening presence. He says, the universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So there he is. And so you're going to need that cloak of protection and love, friends. And, you know, if you're feeling unloved, I've known how that felt at certain times in my life. I'm happy to say I don't feel like that now. But, I mean, I've been there. I really have. And sometimes self-love is the only thing you can do, and you're going to need that to go forward on that night of wands, that night of inspirations journey, because the last thing you want to do is miss out on the inspiration, miss out on all the power that brings into your life and gives to you, just because you're kind of not feeling good in yourself, not feeling confident, not feeling loved. It's an awakening presence going on, like the man says, and he says also the universe is with you. Okay, the universe has your back. That comes up again and again, not least because, quite honestly, it's very true. The universe made you. The universe has your back. Why wouldn't it? So card number 2, here we go. Whatever will it be? Let's see. It's the 2 of materials, the 2 of pentacles. You recognise that, I'm sure. And this is the second time in the last week or so that I've done a reading where we've had the 2 of pentacles come up in position 2, actually. And it's interesting because every card spread is a kind of journey. That's what it indicates. We've got 2 roses being carefully balanced here. Oh, just knackered the lighting a bit. Come back a bit. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, well, what are you going to do about it, eh? Crazy. Oh, every time I move forward, the light goes weird. But isn't that typical? And this is just the thing, if you go forward on that night of inspiration, that night of wands energy, then things are going to go a little bit strange, a little bit different, because you are actually doing something new. And inspiration doesn't come in to keep us the same. It comes in to bring new energy and to get us on a new journey. So the 2 of materials, it's that balancing act, Once you have the actual new experience come in, like we did in the last card, you've actually got to somehow balance that and make it fit into your new life, into your everyday world. It's the only way to look at it, really, because nothing new comes in unless it actually brings some change. So it is all to be, juggled with and balanced, but you will basically get away with it. That is definitely a part of the message of this card. I mean, look at that. That doesn't look like an unpleasant scene, does it? Not at all. That looks really rather good. Okay, so let's read the couplet that goes with that. Where it's on another page here. Let's see. Right, yes. Tell me, how do I carry all of these discs, these spinning tasks and roses? And how do I juggle these safeties and risks and their million intricate poses? A million, bit more than 2 that we're seeing here. But of course it, represents that myriad of stuff that goes on when you actually push ahead, when you actually try and make something new happen. And don't fear it, friends, don't fear it. This is a great card to get early in the new year of 2023, and I think that's probably why it's come up several times in recent readings, because this is the beginning of the year, and if we're going to have something new to shoot for, if we're going to, maybe it's actually not that new, maybe it's an idea we've had for quite a long time, but we've decided now is the time to shoot for it. Well, that's the thing to do, it really is, but it is going to mean balancing, juggling, having a bit of a crazy time. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You don't get anything good unless you're willing to kind of, not just work for it, but actually take the risks and do all the stuff that's involved in trying to fit it into your life. So, the 2 of materials there, essentially the 2 of pentacles. And what have we to go with this card? We have, all stuck together as always, right? Serapis Bay, Ascension, from the Keepers of the Light deck. Here he is, and he says, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. And that really is the trick. That is what that juggling, that balancing business is all about, really. Moving forward doesn't just take you forward, it takes you upwards. It's part of the ascension. I wonder if you remember, it's quite a few years now, the ascension became a massive buzzword. It was all part of the whole 2012 thing when people thought the world was going to end. And actually in those days, the spiritualist churches were packed to the doors because everyone thought they were going to be kind of destroyed or something crazy was going to happen. And we've moved forward from there. And sadly, people just don't, it's not a word I hear as much as I used to. People still talk about the ascension and people still know it's a soul level thing that lifts you up. But yeah, it's just, it's not a fashionable thing at the moment, but make it a fashionable thing in your life, my friends, okay? Move into your true self, rise above the darkness, because the light is here. We've got a real nice image of sunlight going on there. And Serapis Bey is pretty much an Egyptian god character type. Well, not a god, but, you know, very high up Egyptian kind of a deity, really. Not necessarily in his earthly life, but that's how he came to be seen. And he's got the red disc of the sun god image over his head there. So this is a lot of power being channeled into your life, and this is a big invitation to be making the most of things, you know, as we go into this new year. But, you know, don't ignore anything. That's my advice to you. Keep on moving forward. I'm not going to say ignore the past completely, because I am saying don't ignore anything. But move forward and don't let anything hold you back. Just get on with that balancing business. Because it will balance, it will fit in your life. You know, we're all here for a reason. And a big part of that reason is actually to do the things that we're motivated to do by the soul contract we entered into when we came into this world. Card number 3, and I'm holding it this way around because it is this way around. Looking at it from the back, I can already see that it is the Muse of Materials. This, friends, is like the King of Pentacles. It's the highest card in the suit of Pentacles, in the suit of Materials in this deck. So it's abundance, obviously, in a very big way. And we need to remember as well what the Pentacles always hint at, which is the fact that, you know, the magic is all rooted in the earth. It all comes from the earth goddess, the earth energy. And we need to be aware of that. We really do all the time. This is the central card. It's number 3 of 5. So it's what all the other cards in this reading hang on if you picked all 5. And I certainly did. I always pick all 5 because I think all 5 come to me for a reason. So here we have these ladies absolutely covered in abundance of beautiful natural things that have grown from the earth. And grounding, that's really important, friends. So ground yourselves. And that is going to help a lot with the first 2 cards as well. Taking this as a 5-card thing. The Knight of Inspiration, the Knight of Wands. That is, wow, some big, heavy, forward thrusting energy going on. And the 2 of Pentacles, of course, that balancing act. And we really do need to be nice and grounded if we're going to balance things out and actually make things fit into our life. So the Muse of Materials, in other words, the King of Pentacles, is really here. And look, here is you walking up this path. Okay, you might not feel worthy of these characters here, but they represent who you really are, and you're walking towards the sun there, rather like Serapis Bey was talking about in the last Keepers of the Light card that we had from the Oracle deck there. So it's a path of light, you know, that's the thing. The whole spiritual universe is about setting us free, and it's so important to walk in the light and to work in the light as well. Excuse me. I know a great many people who are going to get involved in this kind of thing, in spiritualism, and some of them seem to meet guides and maybe even people in this world as well who have a rather dark view of things, shall we say. And a lot of those people, see, I feel sorry for them because they never get to understand that actually things are much lighter than that. Spiritualism in particular has this dark image because it's associated with death. But when you look into it, it's nothing but pure light. It's very powerful light because it's actually helping us all to make sense of death and to understand that the soul goes on. When we leave this earth, the soul goes on. Just as the soul came into this earth from somewhere else, it goes on to somewhere else. It's always on a journey. The soul is on that journey. So ground yourselves, but be aware that by grounding yourselves, you really can fly into the light. You really can make good things happen. Let's read the little poem out of the book. So mesh with me in this nest of wealth, a plentiful snug nutrition. Absorb this magic, this garden of health. Walk the way towards certain fruition. And why wouldn't you? That's the way to go with that one. Let us pop it down there and let's see what we've got to go with this one. We have got Commander Ashtar, call to action. And we're seeing call to action all over the place in this reading, actually. I think this is going to end up being the title of the thing. It says, take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. Bottom line, walk your talk. You already know what you've got, what it is you've got about you that's going to help you to actually make the progress you want to make. The important thing is to actually believe in yourself, because if you don't have that belief in yourself, nothing else is really going to follow on from it. So believe in yourself, and that's how this call to action from Commander Ashtar is actually going to make a positive difference. Take charge, lead by example as well. Okay, if you're getting other people involved in it, it's so important to actually make them a part of the journey, but to let them see that you're being a part of the journey yourself. Really, really crucial, you know, because when you get people together, working together on an important spiritual task or a worldly task, whatever task it is, it's just going to go better if the person leading the thing is actually, you know, right there involved with it all the way. So lead by example and walk your talk, yeah? Not someone else's talk, not something you read in a book, unless it's, you know, really been an inspirational book for you. Stuff that inspires you, that's what matters when we say walk your talk. Okay, so there we have the middle card of the reading. Are you ready for card number 4? Here it comes, card number 4. Let me know which card you picked, by the way, friends, in the comments below. It's always good to read your comments, and it sort of helps our spirit guides get used to working with each other as well. So what cards did you pick? What did you think? Let me know in the comments below, which are probably now up the side or on top or somewhere weird, because YouTube is just being so weird. But hey, what's new? YouTube is a weird thing, always has been, probably always will be. It's a weird world, we've just got to make the best of it. Card number 4 is the 6 of Inspiration. So we're back in the suit of inspiration. In other words, we are back in the suit of Wands, which is what inspiration represents. And as you take a look at this card, it's about victory, it's about recognition, it's like being seen, you know, for what you are. Almost like you would expect the conditions to be under a Leo moon. It's about letting yourself be seen. And if you haven't got that Leo thing in your birth chart somewhere around you, then you might not be all that comfortable with this one. But it's card number 4, you know, it's moving on from the situation that we find ourselves in. It's where the next part of the future is coming from. And it's actually very positive in that sense, because it's nice to have that feeling of homecoming, isn't it? You know, and it's nice to have the recognition of success that actually goes with this. The only problem maybe is fear of success. You know, it's important to look out for that one, because that'll get you every time. Try and overcome any fear of success that you might have, you know. But it's recognition, you know, and it's not just about being in the spotlight. It's being recognized for whatever it was you were doing in the spotlight, or whatever you are doing in the spotlight at the moment. So I will read for you the couplet thing out of the book again. I love the Muse Tarot. It's the only deck I've ever, well no, it's actually one of 2 decks I've got that have little bits of poetry with them. The other one being the Lost Tarot of Nostradamus, which has kind of got lost off the channel, so I think I'll bring that back soonish. Anyway, it says, for the 6 of Wands, the 6 of Inspiration, I step up into this light to be celebrated, held and seen. For only in acceptance of this intrinsic wholeness can I truly dance with the divine and share of a spirit proclaimed. A spirit proclaimed, think of that. You know, when we talk about stepping out into the limelight, as it were, walking the path of light like we have been, and stepping out into the limelight and actually getting your ideas out there, making things happen. That's really what it's about, you know. It's about proclaiming your spirit, proclaiming the soul level reason for which you were brought to this earth. Okay, so who have we now? We have Master Jesus and forgiveness. Okay, that's a side of this I wasn't expecting, but here we go. Master Jesus, again, a wonderful ascended master. I'm not madly, well, I don't call myself a Christian at all, but I certainly believe in the power of Jesus. I tend to think that, you know, Jesus and the Catholic saints and all the whole thing that goes with it, it's just an expression of a wonderful thing that was taken over by governments, and, you know, they use Jesus like a puppet to say the things they want him to say. Well, this card I guess is what the author wants Jesus to say. But it is, it's a very true thing. Forgiveness is really, really an important thing. Sometimes it's ourselves that we've got to forgive. There's no getting away from that. You just won't make any progress if you need to forgive yourself and you can't bring yourself to do it. So bring yourself to forgive yourself. Bring yourself to forgive anyone who actually needs forgiveness from you. It matters so much. And Jesus is saying here, you are on the path of light, love and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time. Make of that what you will about father healing, but goodness knows my father certainly needed a lot of healing. And even as my daughter was collecting this stuff that's hanging here, and like, look, we've got a unicorn, we've got all kinds of wonderful things left over from my daughter. This used to be where my daughter's bed was. I've sort of taken it over as a studio because she's all grown up now. But yeah, you're on the path of light, love and forgiveness. That's what really, really matters. Okay, when we speak about father healing, it's all to do with where we're coming from, which in astrology would be the south node. That's all about where you're coming from. The north node is where you're headed, and that's what really matters. But you get there a lot quicker, a lot more safely, a lot more securely and comfortably if you know where you're coming from. So remember that path of light. Remember, Jesus here is telling you to forgive, and you don't want to upset Jesus in any way if you can possibly help it. The church tells me I've upset Jesus lots of times in my life, but I don't think I have really. So we find ourselves with card number 5, the outcome card, if you picked all 5, and it's your card, of course. If you picked card number 5, it is the 6 of emotions, which in the Muse tarot deck is essentially the 6 of cups. So we've got emotion going on here. And this is an interesting one again to come up at this time of year. Nostalgia, past memories showing up, old friends turning up, that kind of situation. And didn't those old friends just turn up in droves over the festive period? At least I hope they did for you. They certainly did for me. I got phone calls and text messages and stuff from people I hadn't seen for ages. People coming to the house that I'd barely talked to for the last year, but who are nevertheless important people. And it kind of stirs you up. It stirs you up and it reminds you, again, like that South Node thing I was talking about a second ago. It reminds you of the need to go forward and the fact that everything that's gone before isn't so much to be junked and forgotten, but is actually a plank in the platform on which you stand. Second time this week I've said that. This must be the energy of the moment as well. It's a beautiful reminder, really, of how far you've come. It's as if she's holding up a mirror in this card, isn't it? It's actually more of a drum, I suppose. But, to actually make that pulsing drum rhythm, you've got to have the skin nice and tight. In other words, where you're coming from has to be right as well. So like make friends, make peace. You can see she's making peace with a kind of smaller version of herself here. And wherever she's going, whatever she's going to do, she is actually carrying her whole self with her as if it was luggage, baggage even. And the thing about baggage is, sure, it's good to move on beyond it. It's good to let it go as much as possible. But we can't forget, we are who, at this moment, with all the potential we've got, we are actually who we are based on who we've always been. And it's important to understand that to make the journey ahead. It really is. So let me read a little bit of poetry here. I remember you in the sweetest of fragments, organic, evolving, eyes open, heart lit. We loved and lived as if we were the living, breathing manifestation of consciousness. I thought it was going to rhyme, that's why I read it out lumpy. I was expecting a rhyme and there isn't one. But there you go, organic, evolving, eyes open, heart lit. That's really the key to this one. So let us see what we've got from Keepers of the Light. And it is Bridget, inner strength. There she is, very, very strong character is Bridget. Very strong indeed. And she says, move back to wholeness. Recognize that you have the power. Very simple words there, but it is all about moving back to power, it almost sounds like stepping backwards, but it's not. This is about moving back into the power of the soul that you've always had and have maybe forgotten you had, because this world is always trying to convince us that we're a bit rubbish, that we're not really as good as we think we are. Got to put those thoughts aside, you really have. And that's important with the Six of Emotions card that we just had as well, the Six of Cups. You know, we are who we are, and we've got to make friends with that and be real about that. So as she says, move back to wholeness. Really, you know, whatever's been taken away from you, claim it back, snatch it back. It's yours, friends, it really is. And recognise that you have the power. Well, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll have heard me talking lots and lots about why you have the power and what the power is actually, you know, meaning to you. And as we look into these spiritual practices, it is all about understanding what the power means to you and means within you. And that's what Bridget is talking about. Move back to wholeness. Recognise that you have the power. And that seems to me to be a very fitting end to today's reading, friends. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I want to thank you again for watching. Please drop a like on this one if you've enjoyed it. That's a like, isn't it? And leave me a comment. That's a comment. If you want to get into the description of this video or leave a comment, it's down under the video. The description is where it says ... more. If you tap that, it opens up on the side, and you can... does on my tablet anyway. I don't know what it does on your computer. Everything is so wacky and so different, isn't it? I was chatting to a friend last night. We were just saying, you know, you can't really move without the internet these days, and the internet is taking everything over. And I said, well, all we've really got left is, apart from the internet, is, you know, books to read, that kind of thing. And then I thought, you know, books mostly come from the internet these days, don't they? From online somewhere. I know that the books I read when I visit spiritualist churches, we do a little bit of reading usually at the beginning. And I always end up reading from something I've downloaded onto my tablet. It's got a Kindle app on it. So there's just no getting away from the internet, but that is just, you know, that's the way forward. It's the way the world is going. So I'm glad you've joined me on the internet, on YouTube today, or wherever you're watching this. And do share this around the internet, by the way, friends, if you wouldn't mind. Makes a huge difference. It really does, and it helps me to get the word out, which is really what I'm trying to do. But as this reading's shown, friends, it's important for you to get the word out too. So thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Why not subscribe if you haven't already? That too makes an enormous difference. Share me around the internet if you can. It's been great sharing the journey with you today in this video, and I'll be back again soon. Final word, I'm going to have one last try at reviving my Astro Truth channel. It's called For Astro Truth. I shall put a link to it in the description. There is going to be a video about astrology, which is what the channel is all about, kind of space, weather and astrology as well, because the space weather really makes a difference, all the sunspots going on and things like that. There's a lot of solar flare activity at the moment, and that really does kind of play into geomagnetic storms and stuff, which do affect astrology, which do affect the way we all feel. So check out For Astro Truth, and a little bit later in the day there should be a new video on there. I'm working on it as we speak. But anyway, friends, you know, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you again in a future video. Love and light, blessings and peace.